Hi, I'm Liz Kessler. I'm the author of Read Me Like a Book. The earliest memory that I have of writing was mostly poems. I was aged about 8 when I started writing poems. I love doing it. I made a book for my grandmother, who I called Mama, and it was full of all my best poems, my best handwriting. I had Jinx's Shop, which was actually also in the newspaper at that time. I was very proud. And the Mingle Mangle Mungle Mouse and Naughtiness, which is a favourite when I read them out today. And yeah, I used to love writing poems, aged 8, 9, 10. Did it all the time. Perfect reader, I guess it's kind of two perfect readers. Well, hopefully there's hundreds and thousands of perfect readers out there. But if I think of the perfect reader, then one idea that I have is, I don't know, maybe a 15-year-old girl who's struggling to come to terms with her own sexuality, or she knows but she hasn't told other people, and comes across my book and reads it, and it gives her the confidence in herself and the confidence to come out to those around her. That kind of idea would be a privilege to feel that my book was part of that. But as well as that, my perfect reader is really anybody who remembers first love. It's not just a book about LGBT issues. I don't think of it as an issue book at all. It's a book about first love and all the ups and downs of being a 17-year-old, and I think there's a lot in there for everyone. So my ideal reader would be people who want to reconnect with that part of themselves, or who are going through it now, whoever that feeling is for. Do you know, when it comes to Read Me Like a Book, if I think of being proud, I guess I'm proud of myself for feeling brave enough to really push to get this book out there. I wrote it a long time ago and it was rejected by everybody, so to come back and take it back to my publishers and say, this is important to me and I really want to do it. I'm proud of my publishers, both Orion in the UK and Candlewick here in the States, for having the confidence and being supportive enough to be behind me with the book, not just to publish it, but to celebrate it and really get behind it. And I'm proud of the world, frankly, for being open to publishing more and more of these books all the time. The best piece of advice I've ever been given in terms of writing was from a friend of mine called Jen Alexander. It was quite a few years ago. I was feeling very stuck with a book, and she said to me, this is about the seasons of writing. And she told me kind of her theory that each book has seasons just like a year, and that there's the winter, when we plant that seed and we put it down there and it's under the ground. There might be ice and snow, there might be, who knows what there is on top of it, because we can't see it. And we have to take a bit of a leap of faith that the idea is there and it's going to start growing. And that's a difficult time. It can be difficult. Then there's the spring, when the ideas are all little tiny shoots are starting to come up, and you have these little moments of, oh, maybe this could happen and that could happen, and tiny little colourful shoots coming. And then there's the summer, which is when everything's in full bloom. You just want to be with your book all the time. You're writing, the ideas are flowing. You're putting in 10-hour days at your desk because it's all so bountiful. And then when the book's finished, the autumn or the fall is when things have to lie fallow, and you just have to leave it to kind of regroup and be ready for you to start again with the next one. And this idea seriously revolutionised how I feel about writing. And I do still have difficult times. I do still feel stuck. But there is a bit of me that thinks, this isn't going to last forever. It's just the winter and spring is coming. So I've had lots of great responses to the book, and it's been lovely seeing the reactions from people. It's very heartwarming. I have to say, possibly the most memorable was when I did a festival called YALC, which is the YA Lit Convention in London this year. I had the best signing queue ever, possibly the most emotional signing queue ever. Everybody that came to get their book signed had a story. Everybody had a hug. Many of them had tears. It was incredible. And amongst this, possibly my best moment was a mum and her daughter who came together and the daughter had already read the book, and she'd given it to her mum, and her mum said to me, "Thank you for writing this book. You have helped me understand what my daughter's going through better," and I'd helped them to communicate in their relationship, and to write something that enables a moment like that, and to be part of such a special and important moment like that is an absolute privilege. So that was seriously the best thing. And I have to say, they were followed a few people later by two girls who they'd been in the queue for maybe an hour or so, and they'd got talking, and by the time they got to me, they told me that they decided that they were going to start dating. So my book actually brought together two people, so that's quite a privilege as well. In my experience of the movie industry, which kind of moves at the pace of the Arctic shelf, the person who would play the lead, if it ever happened, probably hasn't been born yet. But if it was made today, then I wonder about someone like Abigail Bresnan. She was Little Miss Sunshine, and I always thought she would make a great Emily Winsnap. But, it's a few years on, she's a bit older, and actually, I think there were such good, strong links between Emily Winsnap and Read Me Like a Book. They're just both about strong young women becoming content and happy and familiar with who they are. So, so maybe there's quite a strong through line there. And she could have done Emily Winsnap, but now she can be Ashleigh Walker and Read Me Like a Book. So let's have her. Yeah, call her.